Yes, my dudes, I'm Alex, and thanks for checking out another video. I've had a couple of requests recently to break down some King Krule tracks, and I love King Krule, man, so I thought, what better opportunity than now to crack on with some. Something worth quick mention is that King Krule's tracks are heavily produced, so sometimes this does make the drums a little bit harder to hear, so I've written them out in a way that I think sounds good, but of course these are open for interpretation, and you can make them your own as well. It's also worth going and watching a few videos of King Krule live, because their drummer, George Bass, absolutely kills it, man. And on the tracks we're going to look at today, it sounds like there's probably a mixture of acoustic and electronic drums on the tracks. I thought it could be cool to do one track from each of the 3 albums, and let's do them in chronological order. So we're going to start things off with a track from 6 Feet Beneath the Moon. This song's called Borderline. So to get Borderline started, let's get our backbeat in there, and we're going to play our snare on 2 and 4. Now in the track, it sounds like an electronic snare drum, so you can choose whether you want to play a cross stick or if you want to play your snare as normal. For me personally, I'm going to play a cross stick today. So where this groove gets interesting is when we add in our bass drum. So we want to be feeling the groove in 16th note triplets, and we're going to play our bass drum on the downbeats of beat 1 and beat 3, and then we're going to play on the last triplet partial of a group of 16th note triplets every beat of the bar. Now you could just feel this in 16th notes and swing them, but where the difference in subdivision becomes really important is in the 4th bar of our phrase. So if you have a look at bar 4, you'll see that we're going to add in 1 extra snare drum on the of beat 4. That now means that our 16th note triplet bass drum on the last partial of beat 4 sneaks in just after the snare drum, which would give you a different feel than if we were just swinging 16ths. You could experiment with playing different rhythms with your right hand, either up on the hats or the ride. Playing straight 8ths or a shuffle would both work equally well. But in the track, the drums are played completely dry, so for today, I'm just going to leave my right hand out of it. If that's all making sense, jump onto your kit and let's see if we can play it together.
And the soul chokes to cause the tide, to enforce the pie. This old erosion is moved inside. I score mine, store my crime. Reach slow motion to coin the mind. See here I trace my steps.
The next song we're going to look at is from the album The Ooze, and if I had to pick one all-time favourite King Krule track, this would probably be it, man. It's Dumb Surfer. This one's a moody tune with a straightforward and an in-your-face groove. We're going to play 8th notes up on the hi-hat, our snare drum on beat 2, and a beat 3 and beat 4, and then our bass drum pattern goes over a 2-bar phrase. In the first bar, we're going to play our bass drum on beat 1, the and of beat 2, beat 3 and the and of beat 4. In the second bar, we're going to play our bass drum on the and of beat 1, the and of beat 2, beat 3 and the and of beat 4. Now there is the odd little variation in the track, and if you go and watch a live video, you'll see that George Bass improvises a lot around the groove, but for the most part, this is what it's all based around. I would totally recommend experimenting with textures and dynamics and seeing if you can build tension at the same time as the other players on the track. Let's have some fun with it, mate. I'm going to lay into this one. Jump onto your kit and let's see if we can play it together.
Train will fucking crash, now my brain's diluted. We blame the guilt with lash, get lash,
And the final track we're going to look at today is from the album Man Alive, and it's another moody one, mate. It's called Stoned Again. Stoned Again, a little bit different from the other grooves we've looked at today because there's no one set groove, but instead the drums seem to be a little bit more free, a little bit more improvised. So what I've done is I've notated an 8-bar chorus from the track, and what we'll do is we'll talk about some of the concepts being used, and then we'll see if we can piece it together. So for the most part, we're going to be playing 8 notes up on the ride cymbal, and a backbeat on 2 and 4 on our snare drum. There's a lot of syncopated bass drum phrases using a combination of 8th notes and 16th notes, and there doesn't seem to be any particular order to these phrases, which in my opinion sounds really cool because you don't often hear that. We've also got some 16th note phrasing on the snare drum, which means we're going to play our snare in between the ride cymbal, But this is pretty classic stuff, man, so I'm sure that most of you have played this before. So have a listen and see if you can recognise it. A couple little areas to watch out for are the 16th note fill at the start of the second bar. Again, this is really interesting placement for a fill and not that conventional. And at the end of the 8th bar, we've got this big 16th note triplet fill where we move from the snare drum to around the toms. Highly likely that this tune will be improvised slightly different every time, so use the notation to get the beats down, but of course feel free to make it your own. Either way, jump onto your kit and let's give it a playthrough. Smashed it, my dude. Sometimes it's not all about playing technical, but it's just fun to lock in with some moody grooves. Let me know down in the comments, what's your favourite King Krule track? And it doesn't have to be one from this video. I'd be well interested to know, man. And as always, if you do go and learn any of the grooves from this video, I would love to see them, man. You can tag me up on Instagram at @DrumHubTuition. And remember, drum lesson giveaway at 5k subscribers, mate. So if you're digging the videos, hit the button to join the Wednesday crew, man. And feel free to leave a track recommendation for the Drum Hub Jukebox playlist down in the comments below. I'll see you next week.